that our server is running at port 8080. Okay, and we also understand that this is a Spring application and the name is appointment. We also have the Postgres drivers over here, and then we also have our URL that is running on localhost 5432. Okay, this is the one that will help us to connect to our database, and then our database name is hospital. We have the username, which is Postgres. We have also the password. Okay, so we have create and drop. This means that anytime we start our project, we'll be losing the data. Okay, and if you don't want to lose data inside your database, you can change this from create and drop to update. But because we are still practicing, just put it as create and drop. Then we have our dialect, this which is Postgres dialect, and then format as which will be true. Show SQL, this is gonna be show some logs inside our once we run our project. Okay, so this is what you need to have for the moment. Okay, so once you configure this, let's go ahead and configure our database. Okay, and one thing that you have to understand is that we will create a Docker container, and this Docker container will run Postgres. Okay, then we will also create a network that will help us to connect our database, okay, to our application. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So Postgres running on Docker. Okay, in this step, we need to connect our application to a real database so we can be able to persist some data. Okay, since we have Docker installed, we've just done that. Okay, please go ahead and make it run. Okay, we are going to run Docker container that spins up database. Okay, after that, run a Docker container to connect to our database. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so if you come down here to Postgres container, okay, make sure you have Docker installed, okay, in your machine. Okay, and to check what version is your Docker, navigate to your terminal and type docker -- version. Okay, and that's what we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is I'll come here and type docker and then -- version, and it's going to show me the version that I have for Docker. As you can see, there you go. So we have, this is the Docker version over here. Okay, so that's the first step. Okay, make sure that the Docker is already installed inside your database. Then after that, first thing you need to do is to create Docker network, and the name it as DB. Okay, navigate to your terminal and type docker network create DB. Understand? Now, this one thing that you have to understand, since I have it already created over here. Okay, I created the network already. This is a container. Okay, I created the network already. So what I want you to do is that I'm gonna choose a different name for DB because I have it. Okay, for the sake of explaining how to do that, I'm gonna just name it differently. I'm not gonna name it DB. So I'm gonna say Docker, okay, network. You can name it any way you want. Okay, you can just name it any way you want. So Docker network create and then DB. Okay, I'm changing that and I'm gonna say Docker network create data. Okay, I'm gonna just say datas. Okay, because I don't have a network called datas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna expand this and I'm gonna click on that, and it's gonna create this network here. Okay, so this is the network here. Okay, so once you do that, okay, the next thing you have to do, if you want to delete, you can say Docker network rm, the name of the network, which is DB. Okay, but at the moment I don't want to delete the network. Okay, but if you want to delete the network, this is how you do it. Okay, then after that, in this case, we want to create a network called DB. We don't want to delete it, so go ahead and do this step. We are going to run docker container for Postgres. Now, before executing any command, create a folder in your desktop called DB. Remember, this here, you can name that folder anything that you want. It doesn't have to be exactly this. Okay, so you can name it any way, anyhow that you want. But for me, I have named it as docker db data. This is my folder name. Okay, so yours can change. Okay, then after that, in the desktop, navigate inside the folder that you just created. So we're gonna navigate inside the folder that we just created. Okay, so I'm gonna say cd and then desktop. Okay, so I'm gonna make this bigger. Okay, cd desktop. So I'm gonna click on that, then I'll check and see if the folder is inside my desktop by clicking ls, and it's gonna list all the folders that are in my desktop. And as I scroll up, I will see the folder that I created is over here, db data. So I'm gonna copy that one, and then I'm gonna come here and say cd. Okay, cd, and then I'm gonna paste db data. So once I do that, I'm inside the db data. Now, once you're inside the db data, there is a code that I want you to run. Okay, so the thing that you have to do is run the Postgres data inside the db data folder. Okay, so we want to run Postgres data inside the db data folder. So what you need to do, okay, if you're using Mac, okay, this is the code. Actually, let me call it, this is the code that you need to run. Okay, where we have this code here with pwd. If you're running your if you're using Mac, okay, you can use this code over here. But if you're running PC, okay, so window users, okay, you will use this one here, okay, instead of pwd. So instead of pwd, we're gonna use this one here. Okay, but I came to realize me using this one here, it doesn't really work. Okay, it doesn't really work. So what I'm gonna do is this. Okay, what I'm gonna do is this is supposed to be the path of your folder that you created. Okay, so instead of writing this one here, let's copy the path of our folder that we created and paste it here. So that's what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is that I will copy this just like that. I'm just gonna copy it like that. Okay, then I'm gonna go straight to my terminal and I'm gonna post this there, but I will have to change this one here to the path. So what I'm gonna do is that I will have to check where the path of the path of my folder. Just give me a minute. So cd desktop, http desktop. Good. So I'm gonna replace this, and actually to get the path of your folder, you just have to go click property and then come and look for that. This is the location of your folder. Okay, so you just have to copy this, and then I'm gonna close that. Then I will go straight over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna paste the path of my folder over here. You see that? Okay, so what's happening here, let me explain this. So we say docker run, then dash dash the name of our network, and remember the name of our network was what did I say the name of my network is? Let me go up, let me check. So I created a docker network called datas. So this one here is what you need to write over here. So what I'm gonna do is that we'll come here and then I'm gonna type datas, just like that. Then we have minus p. Okay, and then I'm going to explain all this in a minute. Okay, I'm going to explain everything you see here in a minute. I'm just fast doing some changes. Then network is going to be datas, just like that. Okay, and then after that, when I click down here, okay, when I click down here, just like that, it's gonna create actually Postgres, okay, inside our DB data. So if I bring my DB data over here, if I bring my DB data here, let me show you. So if I bring my DB data here, this is the folder that I have called DB data. So if I bring it here, just give me a minute. Let me look for it. Oh, I lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So if I open it, you see we have Postgres has been created. You see we have all, you'll find this folder inside your DB data. Once you run that command, you will find all of this inside your DB data. Okay. So the thing that you have to do is go back to your terminal. Okay, so we have created the Postgres okay, inside our folder. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is to connect to DB using a PSQL container. So we want to use PSQL to connect to our Postgres container through network. Okay, so the way we do that is to type this command here, docker run, okay, minus it minus irm minus the network dash dash. I'm sorry, I'm saying minus, but it's supposed to be dash dash. Okay, so we also have dash dash network, which is equals to the name of the network, and then this is the Postgres. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, just go ahead and copy this. Then after that, what we will do is we will go back to our terminal and then we're gonna paste this here. So we're gonna paste this here, but we will not run this command until we change these to datas, just like that. Okay, and then we also have to change these to datas, just like that. So once we do that, we have to run our Postgres and you just click enter. And then once you run that, code, look, it's gonna show you this. Okay, it's gonna show you a password for use of Postgres. So remember, in our application here, we say that the password is gonna be password. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'll come down here and type password. Okay, so that means I'm accessed. Okay, and I'm inside my Postgres. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just click on Control and C. No, I mean Control L to delete everything. Okay, to create a new to delete the rest. Okay, so let's go ahead. So what I want to do is I want to create, okay, database. Okay, and then the database name is gonna be the hospital here. Okay, but I have already created that one already, so I'm gonna type hospital. Okay, and then I'm gonna put some, and then I'm gonna click. You see, it's gonna tell me that hospital already exists because I have this database already. So for you, if you don't have that database, go ahead and create. And then after that, I want you to click on /c and then connect to hospital database, just like that. So it's gonna say you're now connected to database hospital as user Postgres. So that means your Spring Boot application is connected to Postgres. Understand? So to prove that, I'm going to run this application that I've created. I'm going to run it. Click up here so you can run your application. Okay. So I'm going to run my application. And there you go. So you can see I have created a table, okay, inside my database. Okay, this is beautiful, this is nice. Okay, and also you can see that the 8080 is over here, and we are running Tomcat at port 8080, which is over here. Okay, good. And also everything looks good. Okay, and also we have Postgres dialect that has been started. Okay, Postgres over here. Okay, and then we have created the table, and yeah, that's it. Then we also have uh Tomcat started at port 8080. Okay, so that's awesome. So let's go back again to our terminal, and I want us to write select, okay, star from what from this is let's go back again to our classes over here. Okay, so if I click on this appointment, I told you that we created a table, okay, inside our database, and the name of the table is appointment. So I'll copy that, okay, and then come back here and say select star from appointment. Okay, and once I click, there you go. So we have this ID that is the primary key generated automatically. We have the end time, we have the patient name, and then we have the start time. Okay, so if I come back again to my project, we have this one here. We have the start time, the end time, and the patient name, and this is a table that has been created inside our database. So let's go ahead and persist some data to see if we will be able to send some data, and save it inside our database. And for us to do that, we're going to use what we call Postman. Okay, so Postman is a testing application that is used to test if our application is working, if the APIs are working. Okay, so if I click here, okay, and then click on, we are posting. Okay, so we are doing a post. So if I go back again to my controller, so we have this HTTP request here. So what we're going to do is we will do a post mapping for a patient. Understand? Okay, so we're going to have some details. Okay, and the details that we need are these details here: start time, end time, and patient. So what I'm going to do is that I will copy this. Okay, copy. Then what I'm going to do is that I will come back to my ChatGPT. Okay, and I'm going to say create a JSON for the following properties. Okay, properties to test using Postman. So then I'm gonna click that one. I'm gonna paste the properties. So if I click here, and it's gonna create a JSON. There you go. So it's gonna create a start time, it's gonna create an end time, and the patient name. So let's say the patient name is John Doe. So I want you to copy that one, come back to your Postman. Okay, then click on body. Okay, and then go straight to this JSON and click on JSON. I have it already here, so I'm gonna post. So this information is what I'm gonna post inside my is what I'm gonna post inside my database. Understand? Then here we have post, we have get, we have put, and we have delete. Okay, so you can either test if you want to get, if you want to do a post mapping, you can do that. If you want to do a put or a delete, you can also do that. Okay, so this is the HTTP. We have HTTP localhost 8080. That's where our Spring Boot is running on. And then we have this appointment here. This appointment is the one that we have here. This is our point. Sorry, go back again to our controller. So this is the appointment that we have here. Okay, and since we are doing post mapping, so we're gonna type patient over here. Okay, so what we have to do is that we will just type patient here. Okay, so this is gonna be the HTTP for us to be able to do a post mapping. Understand? So what I'm gonna do is that I will click on send. Click on send. Very good. So if you see this 200, this means that your HTTP request was successful. So that means you were able to send this JSON inside our Spring Boot and to our database. Understand? So if I just minimize that and come over here, you will see that the moment we did a post mapping, this information was sent inside our database. These are the logs over here. So if I go back again to my terminal and type select star from appointment and click enter, you will see that we'll have ID1, end time, we have it here, patient name is John Doe, and start time is this. Okay, so what I told you is that this ID automatically generates itself. When you come down here to our appointment and come down here, we say that this line indicates that the value of the primary key will automatically generate itself. Understand? So in our postman over here, we don't have that ID. Understand? Because it will generate itself. So let's see. So if I type here John Doe and then say John Doe 1 and then click on send. Okay, if I come back here, if I come back to my Spring Boot, you see we have another log here. So this means that we sent JSON number 2 inside our database. So if I come back here and say select star from appointment and click that, you see it has automatically generated the key. We have 2 again. Understand? So it's gonna go ahead generating automatically the ID, and then we have John Doe 1 over here. Understand? So if I come back to my application.yaml here, I say that this one here is update. This is an update over here. We say this is update. Understand? So if I run my application again, okay, the data that I persisted inside my database will remain intact. So if I come back here and click this command, and you will see that my data will remain intact even though I have restarted my application. But if I come here and change this to create and drop, anytime I start my application, I'm gonna lose this information over here. And this is good when you're testing your application. Okay, so I recommend you to use this create and drop when testing application. So if I come and run this application here, so if I come and run it one more time, okay, so if I do that and come back again here and type this command and click, you see that I lost my